Yo, yo, yo. This is the check-in. So, although it may seem like I'm alone, I'm not really. I'm here, baby. My guys are gonna pop in here in a second. Yeah, it's the check-in. What it is, baby. You already know. Just gonna vibe for a minute. Real quick, like, you know what I'm talking about? Real quick, like, you already know what this is, man. You already know what we're doing. This is the check-in. Yepers. Yeah. Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and give the disclaimer right now. We're not counselors, therapists, or anything like that. What we are is individuals that have walked down this path before, you know. Maybe have some insight, maybe not. Maybe you can take what we say, maybe not. It's up to you, you know. Also, too, with that being said, you might hear some things that are harsh, things that may not be appealing to your ear. You know what I'm saying? But if it's not appealing to your ear, then you know what to do, man. Just switch the damn channel. Watch something else. Listen to something else. You know, we don't play softball around here. You know what I'm saying? No underhand pitches. Straight from the soul, straight from the gut, straight from the heart. You know what I'm saying? As we glide right now and just kind of wait for a second for my cohorts to pop in. Cohorts. We're going to vibe right now, right quick. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link. In. And if you're feeling froggy, then jump. You know what I'm talking about? If you feel like you want to jump in the conversation, by all means, hop on in. You know what I'm saying? We ain't scared. You shouldn't be scared. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody feels a certain way, and that's all good. You know what I'm saying? We all are entitled to our own opinions. We just have to respect others' opinions. That's all. We can agree to disagree, for real. But let me see what's cracking, because yo, what's cracking, man? All right, that's my man OT. He trying to get in. All right, I'm waiting on you. That's the other co-host, OT. He's out in California. I don't know. He kind of an old man in the mind. Like, technology really fucks his head up. But it's all right. But as I was saying, that disclaimer, you know what to do, man. If you're a little soft in the ears, a little emotional, maybe wear your heart on your sleeve, you know, this probably ain't the show for you. You know, you're going to hear some things that you may not like. And, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, we're going to have to get this show rolling. My guys already know what time it is. They should have been up in here, but it's all good. We got to keep it going anyways. Yeah. So, while thinking about the actual topic for tonight, I had like a bunch of things I was thinking about, like, to talk about. But one of the things that came to mind that kind of stuck with me, what is it to be a man in 2023? Like, really think about that. You know, let that soak in for a second. What is it what does it take as a person, as yourself, not outside looking at other people, but within yourself? What do you think it takes to be a man in 2023? As opposed to our forefathers, or grandfathers, our fathers and great grandfathers. What do you think it takes to be a man in 2023? There's a lot to that. There's a lot to unpack to that, especially in this day and age that we live in now, that I say applauds people for being emotionally there in the moment and being transparent and all of these types of things. But we're still stuck with that mentality of fuck it, I gotta suck this one up, or I'm not gonna talk to anybody. We talked about that last week as well. But it's difficult, man. Like I don't think it's gotten any easier to be a man in 2023 than it was any other time. I think personally, some motherfuckers got it too goddamn easy. If you ask me, if I was to give you my opinion, I think men, a lot of men nowadays skate on a whole lot of shit, and they don't take responsibility, and they don't take accountability for their own actions or the things that they've done or even said. And I think we need to differentiate the difference between accountability and bowing down, because I think some people think that if you take accountability for your actions, that you're actually bowing down, or you're being a pussy, or is that even politically correct to say pussy? But well, let me I gotta shoot Jizzo the link. I gotta shoot everybody the link. Hang on right quick. I don't know what the fuck should be happening, but you can still listen to me. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear me, but it's not like bowing down or anything like that. It's just taking accountability. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you said it, you said it. If you did it, you did it. You know what I mean? I don't know like where that type of mentality comes from, but I know it exists. I know that it exists. And it's a problem for some people because they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to take accountability. They don't know how to be a certain way. They don't know shit. They don't know how to do half the shit that you're supposed to do nowadays anyways. Because a lot of people let motherfuckers just get away with shit. Hold on a second. I got to get these guys in here. But if you see that link, man, tap in if you want to tap in. I got to get my guys in. Apparently, they're having trouble with the link. This is why motherfuckers supposed to tap in early. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jizzo, by the way, I just emailed you the link, so try that link. OT, what's your email address so I can send you the link? Because I'm sitting here by myself, man. But it's all good. It's all good. These things happen. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. What's your email, bro? Let me just call him. Fuck texting. Yeah, like I said, it's hard like to deal with those kinds of things, man. And it's there's Jizzo. Jizzo's in the building. Shout out Jizzo. You made it.
What up, man?
You made it. We're waiting on OT right now.
That link wasn't working, the original one.
Yeah, they changed up the format on the motherfucker, man. But I was trying to get a hold of OT to send him the link again.
He's about to.
But what do you think about that, bro? Like about what it is to be a man in 2023?
That's a big question, but I think that like what I try to tell people when I talk to them is to be somebody that possesses like a lot of skills, because nowadays, man, like, you got to know all types of shit. You have to be a person with like many skills and many, you know, things that you know how to do. And because if not, the next person just does and is going to get ahead of you. Like, I think it's like more challenging. Like, back then it was just, you know, I don't, shit, why does my phone keep going off? Okay. My phone was going dry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm gonna send OT the link right quick. So go ahead, keep talking though.
But yeah, no, I'm just enjoy. I think that's just one part of it. But I was just saying that, like, yeah, man, you need to like not like being a man nowadays is like knowing how to do like the little stuff, knowing how to, you know, fix little things. To just have a bunch of like, have a bunch of different skills. Like, for instance, like for me, like when I do my video stuff and everything, like I make sure that I do photography, I do the video, I make my own shirts, we kind of I make logos for people. You just gotta be somebody that possesses that does a bunch of stuff, man, and that's definitely one way to. I mean, that's not the basis of like being a man, but you know what I'm saying.
Work ethic and shit. Are you just talking about work ethic?
Not work ethic, but like I mean possessing a but like no like can't be a motherfucker that don't know how to change a tire. Can't be a motherfucker that don't know how to
What does that mean, though? What does that mean though? What does that mean? You can't be a motherfucker that can't change a tire, that doesn't know how to change a tire. You can't be a motherfucker. Oh, by the way, I'm your boy Heat Detective. We got Jizzo in the building. They're a little late, but they always on time. And OT is back in the building. Glad to have you back, brother.
How y'all doing?
We good. We good.
Hey, speak on that topic real quick. What was that answer?
What the topic is what is it to be a man in 2023? And Jizzo was he was talking, but he was talking, I think, more in the sense of having a job and being able to do multiple things. And I'm really talking about, I mean, that's part of it, I guess. That's part of it, but like the emotional part of it, the things that motherfuckers really don't talk about, really don't, you don't really hear about it. You don't, you know what I mean? Like the day-to-day stresses of what it is to be a man in 2023, the day-to-day life that you have to live, or the day-to-day life that you have to hide from, or the day-to-day life that you're stuffing down because you feel like you're about ready to snap on a motherfucker or lose your mind a little bit.
Hey, shout out to the listeners, to my brothers. But I think all of that belongs to it, though, right? I mean, am I not correct that means when you ask what does it be a man in 2023? Holding a job, being there for the family, not snapping when you want to snap because your pride get involved in what you're dealing with, all of that. But the totality of being a man is that. Is stand your ground, not necessarily in that crazy sense that them knuckleheads down there in them other states with them shoot them when I'm standing my ground. But your yes should be a yes, and your no should be a no. And to add that to it, you stand up straight when you shake a man's hand. You meet somebody, you shake their hand, you shake a hand. So
right,
I think it's the totality of everything that we just talked about. Keeping that job. You go to work, you think, man, I ain't feeling this damn job. To hell with y'all. I'm gonna go on unemployment, and whatever happened to the kids and all the other stuff, you got to deal with anyway. So,
but isn't that a stress though? Isn't that a stress of having
to carry that's
all life. That shit? I'm talking about the things like this, bro. I'm talking about the everyday life shit that men have to carry. That I don't think we should have to carry the burden. But that burden, huh?
What? What's a man's purpose?
You tell me. That's what I'm asking. What is it to be a man in 2023?
Hey, that's why God give man broad shoulders. He give him so he can carry the load. He give you a strong back. He give you two hands to dig in the dirt.
And whilst you're carrying that load, by the way, shout out to DJ Ace Vito. He's in the building.
Appreciate you.
Dominique is in the building. You have. He says you have to write. You have to write the rules. I think he spelled right wrong. You have to write the rules. But I think, damn, I lost my train of thought, man.
But you was going ham, I believe.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I mean, all that shit's cool and everything, having the broad shoulders. Yeah. But all of that shit takes its toll.
Yes.
You know, all of that shit takes its toll on a motherfucker. And we are supposed to sit down, shut the fuck up, and just deal with it. You know, we're human beings too. Now, you know, the kids get to talk to somebody. Everybody gets to talk to somebody. Everybody has this. And then people may say, well, shit, everybody has the opportunity to talk to somebody, but dudes, you guys just don't do it. Right. Well, let's see this. Let's check this out. In 2023, has it changed to be a man in 2023 than it was in 1980 or 1970 or the 90s?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Has it?
But money changed, how we deal with stuff, the bringing in of computers. I mean, lots of stuff has changed. We got digital currency. Look how big our cell phones.
What the fuck does that have to do with your everyday? What the fuck does that have to do with your everyday living as a man? What the fuck does cryptocurrency have to do with that?
See, but that's just the difference in opinions, bro. You talking about one thing, we kind of all just saying like the piece of what it takes. I think your question is so big that we're not going to come out with a solid answer. It's just going to be our perspective of how we see it or certain things. Just how I was talking about this and he talking about that. Like we ain't going to end up with a solid answer after this.
Right. You don't think emotionally men are more unstable now than they've ever been?
More unstable? I would hope not, because there's a lot more talk about mental health. And so I will hope that's not the case, that the conversation is opening up. You seen the question that I asked LaShawn on her show that I was on the other day, Let's Rap Coffee and Wellness. And I asked her, well, why is my mental health not as important as yours?
Exactly.
You know, and we didn't really get to talk about it, but you feel me? Like that question, it's out there. So
here we are now.
No, man, back then is when everybody was jumping off of a bridge because they didn't have no one to talk to. I think now we just open the conversations more open and people kind of maybe seem to unite. And it's also different because now people have ways to reach out to other people. They got the check-in at 8:30 on Sundays. They got text message. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of different ways to deal with it. So no, it's not the same. It's a lot different. And I would hope that it just continues to get easier, because you know, saying that would be us saying that, yeah, it's fucked up and it's just still bad. And it's, you know, we're trying to change that narrative.
Right. D-Nick is in the building too.
We out here.
I was talking to him today. Go ahead, OT. My apologies, sir.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that we got more mentality, more mental capacity. Even like, look at this on the phone. Before, we'd have to get on one phone at a time. Hey, I'm talking to you. Maybe some of us could link in and could talk to two people at a time. Now we can reach a whole tribe of people around the world. Now you have information. I mean, it's a little more complicated, but you have the way to reach around and find out something. Before, you'd only get things from one side. Newspaper, it took a week before the facts got out. Television, they showed you what you want. But now with the internet, you find out. No, that ain't right. That ain't right what you're telling me. No, you
check this out. DJ Ace Vito just said Harry David Thoreau had a quote that the masses of men lead lives in quiet desperation. Right. So I mean, even that, and that's my fucking point. Shout out E. Johnson's in the building. That's my fucking point. We live, even though we talk all this shit right now, everybody's sitting over here, oh, that's why we're talking about mental health, and this is your position on this, and this is this, and this is that. The fuck out of here, because at the end of the day, we all are sitting here swallowing our pride about some shit. We're all like,
see, that's what I'm saying, bro. We all have an opinion, and you're saying get the fuck out of here with my opinion, and that's the thing. We gotta be able to come talk about it. And if you're telling the next man get the fuck out of here, how's that? That's what I'm saying. Like,
hey, you already know that I'm being the devil's advocate.
Nah, but that's what I'm saying. This show's about having a safe space to talk to. So it's not just about me. This could be somebody else listening, thinking, no, if I get on there and talk, they're gonna tell me get the fuck out of here.
I got you.
Well, you can't be like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not what the show's about.
If anybody thinks that way, but you know, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? My whole thing is like this, really. My whole thing is like, let's get beyond the superficial shit and get to more of the nitty gritty shit, because the nitty gritty shit is the shit that needs to be fixed. The nitty gritty shit is the shit that we're stuffing down. The nitty gritty shit is the things that we need to talk about. That's what I'm saying. You know, because the surface shit we already know. The surface shit we already know. The surface shit is the shit we've all been told. Yeah, get a job, do this, take care of this, take care of that. You're a man, blase, blase, blah. That's the surface shit. That is the status quo. That is
Right.
that is the template. You know what I'm saying?
Check. Yep.
But what does that do, and what does that mean for us today in 2023 as men moving forward? You know what I'm saying?
It means the big thing is that we can talk. Before, like you said earlier, 20, 30 years ago, it would just shut the fuck up, man the fuck up.
Right. And I guess
that's all it was. It would just get your shit done.
Right.
You know, you got to handle your business, whatever you doing, get it. Now it's like, well, shit, what if I can't get it? I better call one of my homeboy, I ain't feeling so well, but I need to do this, right? Yeah. Okay, let's figure out a way to get it done. You can make that phone call. You can get a hold of somebody.
Right. And I guess
that's the biggest thing about it.
My biggest thing, I let me apologize one more time because that came across really, really fucked up. And you're right,
yeah, I did.
because what I meant was what I just said a minute ago, just a second ago. What I meant was, let's get past the status quo. Let's get past what we already know is on paper. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to do this and that. And let's get past the superficial shit and let's talk about this. The very thing that you were talking about on the Coffee and Wellness show is like, what about our mental health? That's what I'm talking about. Because we can sit here and talk about men all day, having a job, doing this, taking care of your responsibilities, this and that, then all that type of shit. But at the same, we know that already. I'm saying the shit below that. I'm talking about the shit that nobody talks about. I'm talking about the shit that Jizzo said on Coffee and Wellness podcast. What about us? What about us as men? What about our mental health? How come we seem to be on the low end of the spectrum when it comes to mental health? We seem to be on the end of, well,
man up.
Yeah, man up.
But that's that old culture that and today, right now, in 2023, we changing that. We making that change right now.
Right.
Because
we can barely hear you.
He call me, and we can all get on the phone together. Hey, let's figure this shit out. Whatever's going on, you know.
Yeah,
we got that. We got that network now. We got a term for it, and it's called a network.
Right.
And if you don't believe me, what the other races and the other cultures and across the board, they got that. It's been born. We missing that. I was talking to some fellas not too long ago. We that's 50 and over, we now the OGs, and the OGs got to hold it down. Gizzo, you a young OG, so you know you still what it is. But because you got a better mindset, you've benefited from what's happened before in this society, how they broken us apart, tore men down, told them, oh, you can't keep up. Oh well, just crawl over in that corner or jump off that bridge if you can't handle your business. And we saying, no, you don't. You get down here, talk to one of us, get your head right, and get back in the game.
And I think it's important. And I think it's important to understand all levels of it too, because there's people that are at a level where it's like maybe something simple might be killing them, you know, and they need to talk about that. And we got to be open to all the conversation. We can't dismiss, you know, everybody's experience and situation is going to be different. So somebody might be going through, like he had the one guy on the show that was banging his head up against the train terminal shit, talking crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody dealing with something in some kind of way, and we just gotta not dismiss it, because I think that's part of what the problem always was, is that you just got dismissed. You couldn't come to the homies and tell them some shit because you just get told to man up.
You know, something crazy I was thinking about. I remember coming up, and by the time you hit the age of 18, it was like across the board. By the time you're 25, you already should have been married, have a home, at least bought a home. By 30, you should have been like, look, I'm working on retiring right now.
Right.
So there was a crazy push to do a lot of shit. And then I remember at 25, I felt like I had fucking failed. You know what I'm saying?
He was a failure, huh?
Well, at 25.
Hey, hold on a second. I got to plug in real quick. Give me a second.
Yeah. Can you believe that shit? But that was the narrative back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That shit. And can you imagine the grandfathers, shit, they were getting married at 15, 16, 17, working hard ass jobs. and then buying a home. By the time they were fucking 25, they already bought a home, had a car, had babies, all that type of shit. Kids are damn near in high school. You know what I'm saying? Let me get D Nick the link. Yo, D Nick, the link is the same one you had Friday. Yeah, so this is, like I said, I remember at 25, I felt like I was the motherfucking failure because I hadn't achieved all these things that I was told in life that I was supposed to achieve. You know what I'm saying? And when we look at young men now, and they got it I would say a little bit easier. Hey, D Nick, I'm gonna email you the link right now. What do you think about that, Jizzo?
Yeah, that's true, man. It was definitely different back then. You had to grow up a lot quicker, but you were also working younger and everything was happening a lot faster. But, and you got married and you were going to stay married. And now it's like, get in a relationship. If it doesn't work, just go ahead and get that Tinder going by tomorrow. And, it's just a lot different, man. People don't value shit no more.
Yeah, man, we live by a whole different set of values, a whole different set of way of thinking. Hey, D-Nick, I sent you the link. A whole different everything. You know what I mean? Even a person's age now doesn't really define who they are, or what they do. That background noise is killing right now, bro. But it's mad different. OT's back in. It's mad.
They try to keep us down. We gonna stay on this topic. Hell no, I ain't going nowhere.
All right.
Yes.
But yeah, so like I was just saying, it's a different world we live in right now, and back even when I was coming up, you was coming up, OT, and even to say that when Jizzo was coming up, it was expectations as a man were different,
right?
And that ain't that long ago.
Well, let me tell you. So I'm gonna try to tell it from because me and you, we got similar backgrounds. We come from a base start, and then travel a little bit. Got a chance to get a passport. Let me tell you something I've seen in my travels and know it to be true. Not just, and it's not to be racist or anything, but our culture, especially that's a melanin in our skin. We've been broken and taught some stuff that shouldn't have been put in our DNA. They kind of put it in there. And some of it is like you talked about earlier, at 20, 25, in Europe, they don't even tell their kids to get married that early. Them Europeans, and I said, I bleed that. I didn't made it with that. But I understand that they tell their kids up into 30, there's a pattern if you follow it. I.e., you got to put some money back. You got to take care of some things. You got to get some schooling, some education. So just imagine as a young man, and you haven't gotten anything because your parents didn't have it. You there was no trust fund. So all was hustle. So it was broken in that aspect of how you do that. I got a 20-year-old right now. I'm just trying to teach him how to buy a house now, and it's crazy just to think about it. And we got YouTubes and everything. Streaming podcasts, and it's still crazy to try to raise a young man in the 23.
Why do you think that is?
Because it is. Because there's a lot to do. There's a lot of knowledge that we got a lot of knowledge of a lot of things. We know how to make money. Gizzo said he know how to hustle, but there's a lot of things you still don't understand that you need to do. That's going to take time to understand how to put some money back in a savings. Now, not to say go stash in the bank, because we know you don't get no interest in the bank, but you might need to have a life insurance. Every young man, family should have started life insurance. I mean, it's just little basic things that we didn't. It used to happen in the early 60s and 70s, and it got broken because they figured, wait a minute, there's a redistribution of wealth. These guys figured it out, and they broke us. They snapped it. They throw crack in our communities. I mean, I can't blame all that on everything, but it is what it is. And I've seen it.
You see that right there?
Go ahead.
Right there, that right there is a slight peek into the mind of a man right there. No, it's just
Right.
I'm serious. It's like a slight little peek into a man's mind and into a man's thought process.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying though, that's your thought process on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a peek.
Right.
That ain't even the whole fucking picture.
Right.
And when you take all of those things into account, then you got to take into account the amount of stress, the amount of depression, the amount of self-loathing. I mean, there's a ton of shit that comes with all of that. And then the even bigger thing is if any of you guys or anyone out there has a young man in your life, as far as your son, your nephew, or anything like that,
or just a mentor, a mentee, somebody you talk to. Yes.
But no, here's the thing though. What you do is going to dictate how this young man maneuvers. Right. So it's important as men that we understand what it's like to be a man in this day and age and how we walk accordingly. You see what I'm saying? Because when you think nobody's looking, they looking.
Watch, yes, sir.
I seen something when I lived in New York. There was they had this thing on all the subways. It was like a thing from the city, and it had a kid sitting on a steps of a house, right, all by himself in the dark, like sitting there with a little teddy bear. And you know what it said underneath it? It said the world's most sensitive listening device. That's all it said.
Right.
That's all it fucking said. And so as men, while we're dealing with D-Nick is in the building. Shout out to D-Nick for popping in. What's cracking, man?
What's up, man?
He came in laughing. What happened, man?
Hey brothers, I don't want to be rude, man. I'm at a party right now, so I'm gonna have to bow out, man. But I love the topic, man. Peace to D-Nick, bro. Peace to you fellas, man. Peace, bro. I'm gonna tap in with y'all.
All right,
know how it is. Take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace, bro.
D-Nick, this is my man OT. He's in Cali right now. Well,
blessings, OT.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
But you came in laughing.
No, I'm laughing because it's like I'm going back to work right now because I literally work for becoming a man. Like that's what I work for that like company. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
So that's like unit one, thing one, and not to say that I'm the expert on this. I'm just like, oh God, no, that's wrong. This
I mean, talk to us. I mean, we
give it to us.
What the fuck?
Tell us how it is.
I mean, like I said in the disclaimer earlier, we're not counselors, we're not therapists.
I am.
Okay. We got a counselor.
Minus OT and myself. But I don't claim to be any of that. You know what I'm saying? But I am a person that has walked the path, and I am a person that is always trying to enlighten myself and always trying to learn and always trying to bring something to
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Not just to my table, to my brethren and to my people, my friends or whatever. If I feel enlightened about something, I want to enlighten others.
Right.
And I don't know if that, like I spoke to you earlier today, D, and I don't know if that's because of age or if that's just, because sometimes we don't even hit our full potential. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to figure out at 56 what the fuck it is to be a man.
Right.
That's I was in the comments and I was like, man, we write the rules ourselves.
Right.
It's antiquated to like to just say a lot of times like, oh, be responsible, da 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 da, all of those things. Because those are tasks that has nothing to do with my spirit, my soul, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all rites of passage, at the end of the day. And whatever your rites of passage is, is what it goes. Like even when you talk about other cultures that like have these certain rites of passage and all that stuff, they may be struggling internally because we don't know what they talking about. They responsible. You know what I'm saying? They're responsible, but like that don't mean like they're joyous or happy. You literally write the rules for yourself, and and what it means. Like we define that.
You know, people have taken that and spent that out of to another place politically, and you know, and that you know, whatever, teach their own. Like, because now, like you do have to ask specifics. Like, what we talking about? What you mean, a man? Like, you know, I mean, hell, when you look at, and this is for women, but when you look at like socially, they was, you know, they tried to take natural woman off the spot. Like, so like none of this politically, depending on who backs you, is defined anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Real talk. Real talk.
And we can't even judge it from past standards, unfortunately, because like I was telling somebody, like, you know, God bless the dead, I was raised by my grandparents, and I'm, you know, I'm really proud of them and all of that and everything they did for me. But teenagers weren't even invented until 1950.
Ain't that some shit?
There was no such thing as a teenager. You were adolescent and then you were an adult. So everything was so there was no such thing as a teenager. That's why when you, and putting it in context, when you look at all of those, like all of the way they describe like Caucasoid teenagers in the 50s, they were all chain smoking in motorcycle bars, all of it, fixing cars, dropping out school. They was like basically what you would call a thug now. You know what I'm saying? Right. And people breaking those rules. And then in the 60s and like towards the later 50s and the 60s, you know, like with black teenagers and other teenagers that, like, you know, were in different special interest minority groups, or like fucking, you know, raging against the machine, because it's like they ain't had nothing to do but read, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta, you know, there's something else. Yeah, I got to do this and got to do. That's why when you look at the Black Panthers, like the oldest Black Panther was Bobby Seale, and he was like 32. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else. Right. Fred Hampton was 22, and you look at
he was 22 and he looked like he was 35.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because there was no such thing as teenagers. This is the first, like, technically, so it took forever. Then in the 70s, it's like, man, we got to calm these motherfuckers down with drugs and all of this stuff. There wasn't nothing they could do. And then, you know, to the 80s, you know, drugs got harder, and then it was like looking like the goddamn Thriller video, walking around and whatever your ghetto was in America, if you was in the ghetto. And then in the 90s, we was all wilding out and all of that stuff too. And now this is the first generation of like this, and like the past, just a little bit on the cusp of the past. This is the first generation of real actual teenagers. And when you look at all these after school programs and all that stuff, we're trying to figure out what the hell we do with these teenagers. I biologically feel grown. You know what I'm saying? I look grown, but I'm not grown. Decisions. Right. Yeah, but before it was like, man, you just gonna work. And like you had, you know, so work. Like I'll fuck your head up, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hold on. Before you go, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the comments, man. We got
hit him. Yes, sir.
TNA's in the comments, man. He's in there.
What a damn comment, man. Let me fuck your head up. Like when Red Fox was on Sanford and Son, he was 46.
Jesus Christ, are you serious? God.
Hey, look at the new 56. Yeah.
he was 46 on the first season of Sanford and Son. He was 46 and he played someone 66.
Right.
Man, that just goes to show, like, okay, so generationally, like when you know, because they say that physically, when you have depression and stress and all these things, that it physically fucks your body up. And because even the men back then, a motherfucker could be 30 years old and look 60. Right. And its skin would be weathered, and it just, I mean, I know what you're gonna say, Caucasoid. I know, but I'm just saying. Because shit, I thought he was playing like his real age. I thought he was like 60, 70 in that.
No, man. Look at when he died in the 90s. When he died, he was the age that he was on Sanford and Son.
God damn. Oh my God. why are you doing this right now, bro?
I'm just saying, like Red Fox
putting it in perspective for him.
Oh, no, I get it. I'm just saying that blew my mind right now because I never really looked at how old he was, but I always thought in my mind he was playing his correct age, which in my mind was like 60, 70 years old. But then again, that goes to show like what I was saying earlier when I was talking about like when I was coming up. By the time you were 25, you're supposed to already be married. That was the thought. You were already supposed to be married. You're already supposed to have a job. You're already supposed to have a house, car, and kids.
Well, you were grown. You were grown at 12 and 13.
That's big facts.
So why would you not be? Why would you not be?
That's big facts. Big
like
facts.
and that puts everything in context. Like, how long does it take? How long? Like I said, we just got used to teenagers now. We're still not used to them. This is the first generation of real teenagers. So how are you supposed to adjust when the goalpost is moving? You know what I'm saying? When things are moving. When you look at all of the Grimm fairy tales and they have all of those like princesses and stuff. Man, Cinderella was 14. Ariel was 14. And when you get into semantics, but like legality, they weren't like advertising pedophiles. The truth of the matter is, like those people weren't considered teenagers yet.
That just brings me to my point, like right now, too. Like as we're saying all of this right now, and I'm thinking, my son is 24. He still lives at home. And in my mind, why in the fuck aren't you gone? You know what I mean? Why in the fuck?
I spoke on it earlier. Yes, sir.
Even when he turned 18, it's like, okay, you got somewhere to go? You know what I'm saying? That's like, I don't know, man. And then I look at him now, and I'm just like, well, because my wife is like, no, I don't care. He can stay as long as he wants. He never has to leave. And
whoa.
I'm like, shit. That boy better get a lot. He better get a home. He better, you know what I'm saying? He better something. But when I look at him now, as I'm growing and everything, and I can appreciate him being here at the house, especially with the wild shit going on outside and everything.
Right.
Like that. So I can appreciate it, but at the same time,
that's that old heat. That's that old mentality. But why would you push him out the nest and he not ready? He ain't got all the tools he need. Otherwise, he got the tools. That's the reason he ain't took flight.
Swear to God, he got the tools.
He ain't got the tools.
Well, clearly he ain't got the tools.
You can sit down and hit him right now tonight. When you get through on your podcast, sit down and holler at him.
Oh, he had his girl's house. He part-time right now, lives with his girlfriend and part-time here at the house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think D-Nick froze. I don't know what happened.
He must have froze on us. Yeah. Okay, he ain't moved on.
But and then his girlfriend comes over and they play house here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother thing. I don't even
know. Hey, I got to remember Heat. I was telling you, I got to save. And again, that's where we at in society right now. This 2023, because just imagine. Hey, shout out to anybody that's hitting us on the comments. We appreciate you. This is the check-in. We old men talking about some stuff. Keep with us. We're gonna get to the point of what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Okay. E. Johnson says and the idea. Hold on, let me read what he said at first. What it means to be a man in the year 2023 has not changed through the annals of time. What has changed is the angels and the wickedness, spiritual rot, and presented to us, I guess is what he's saying. And
he went on a spiritual route to us. Okay.
Leaving the home and being a functional adult is foolish and a myth, which if we buy into it, will set them up for failure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't disagree. I'm telling you. And this is, OT, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I didn't mean to tell Jizzle, get the fuck up out of here with that shit. but
he know. Otherwise, he would cut
this is what I wanted to get down to, because these are our thought processes as men, and these are the things that we struggle with on a daily basis. These are the things that maybe because I'm getting more enlightened to it, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I get it. I don't want to set my son up for failure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But some of that shit still exists in me. And then maybe there's someone that's listening that it exists to them in a real, like more so than me on some like, yo, man, I think you need to get the fuck up out the house on some everyday type shit.
Right.
Now, not only does that fuck with that man who's saying that to his son, but that fucks
right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, so that's the other part we got to think about is what we do when we say what we say to our children, to our young men, because it's about what kind of young man are we building?
Yeah, what you put in him. See, so that breaks it right back to your when I tapped in. What does it mean to be a man in 2023? See what I'm saying? That's that thing. We got to break them old stereotypes because now we know better. We got some thought process. We've matured.
We ain't doing better.
But you got to do better.
Yeah, but we ain't doing better.
Right here on this platform, we are.
Okay, I agree with you on that, sir. Aaron Carrera says Ferry will always be present. Experience can go so much. Guidance still holds for something. And I agree. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking these questions because I feel it's important to ask these questions. And as men, it's important for us to even have a conversation about this because maybe even there's somebody listening right now that's struggling with some shit that may get some insight on some of the things that are being said, if that makes any sense.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. Look like we back. You back with us, brother. There he is.
Yeah. You froze up there for a second, bro. We can't hear you now, although your mic's not on. Hold on, your mic is muted. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go.
So what do you think? What do you think, man? Since you're the professional here.
Oh man, here we go. I'm working. I ain't even getting paid for this right
now. We got a professional in the building tonight, damn it.
Go ahead, give it to us, brother. Give it to us.
So he can correct our dumb thinking. You know what I'm saying? As they say in that world, our stinking thinking.
Yeah, I like that.
So what? Give me the question. My mind was locked out.
I was just saying that was the whole purpose of starting this dialogue about what it is to be a man in 2023, and how even having this conversation may help somebody. You know what I mean? It may help me. It may help you. It may help OT. It may help somebody because when we talk about like the kid, just because I feel like right now I'm just feeling comfortable with my son being here, even though I should be comfortable with him being here all the fucking time. But at 24, some of my thinking says he should have already been out. But as I was telling OT, maybe somebody listening to this who is yelling at their son every fucking day saying, get the fuck out of this house. Why are you
get out, figure it out.
Is not understanding what he's doing to his son by saying this shit to him, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then we got into the topic of what we do. We have to be very aware and in the moment of what we do and what we say to our young men, because we're molding them. We're and when they are ready to get out there, the shit that they know is only the shit that they're gonna mimic what they've seen and what they've heard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In order to break that chain, it's gotta start right here. Right motherfucking here.
Understanding is the best tool for all of those things and concept. It doesn't heal things, but it's like one of the best tools for. So I live in equations, like personally and professionally on both sides. Whether I'm traveling doing hip hop or whether I'm counseling or whether when I was teaching youth and all that stuff. For me, everything is context, compassion, nuance, and data. And some people are like, "Oh man, that's like it sounds like robotic and static and all that."
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
And I understand, but that's only in like explanation, because it sure don't feel like that. But like, you know, if there's a context to something, like okay, then that gives you more compassion and that gives you more understanding. And it doesn't make excuses for anything. I'm not like on the other tip, I'm not, because there's always stuff coming out about the brain and all this other wild stuff. I'm not the expert on stuff, but you know, under today's standards,
and this is crazy. My grandfather who raised me, he would be in jail and it'd be an abuser. Not because he whooped my ass or anything, but because I was like 12 and 11 working in cement construction doing junk. But in context, he don't know what a teenager is. He was born in 1922. So if teenagers weren't invented till 1950 and wasn't a respected idea until 1960, and we still haven't got a grip on figuring out
what it is.
What do we do until 2020?
Right, right. Real talk.
Like, so he's an abuser? No, he's a product of his time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a thing. He's a product of his time, and that opens up a whole lot of things. Somebody tried to convince me that your grandfather was abusing you. No, he loved me. I enjoyed that.
Right.
But you know, like, I mean, like I enjoy like getting in the truck and beating up, busting up cement and all that stuff. But I enjoyed the rites of passage. I enjoyed partaking in the family business. And he was an old man having to raise a kid in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And has no idea what that stuff was like.
To him, you were a grown ass man, a grown ass little man.
Well, he's trying to figure it out. He's like, okay, you know, I guess this is what you do. This is what I did, and this is what you do. And he grew up on a farm. It was different.
Aaron Carrera, you know, DNA says, it's all our fault. It's past experiences. We do not, we not be in a tribe, but we have to communicate to their level. Just flip the script so that they can overstand. But we so stuck to the old ways. Old ways.
You talked about
just like software.
Right.
I agree. I mean, but how do we go? Okay, that sounds so simple and so easy, but everybody doesn't think that way. Everybody is not ready. Not everybody can go. Not everybody's ready. You can't save every motherfucking body because some people just don't want to go. Some people don't want to change. Some people, you know.
Man, peace to DNA. That's my brother right there. Like,
yeah.
He was asking me about some hip hop stuff in your comments. I saw. I was like, oh man.
I said I can't read that right now. You got to do that shit on the Unwrap show, bro.
But man, it's not our fault. I disagree. It's not our fault. I don't. You know, it ain't about casting the blame. It's about taking accountability and taking an assessment. It's all a process, G. It's all a process, and it's all part of the journey.
Do you think that because you know one of the things that I really hate is like when somebody says, you know, oh you got wiser because you're older now, you know, and I always bring that shit up as like, you know, because I be asking myself, do I think this way now because I'm older now, or do I think this way now because I've seen shit, I've done shit, and my brain says now that ain't the right way. This is the right way. That doesn't come with age, I don't think.
It comes with experience. It comes with experience.
Right.
But that usually comes with age. Like, you know, you're not supposed to be, you know, doing, you know, you're not supposed to be
dumb stuff, right?
Drinking. Right. Yeah, at 16. Like, you'll say, so you'll know that.
I don't know, man. My mom said it was all right. My mom bought me a keg for my 16th birthday, and I got sloppy ass drunk. But then again, my mom was an alcoholic, so and you know, so you know, whatever. I mean, and even that, like within itself, like when we talk about how we mold and shape our children, to me, drinking was like that's normal. But to everybody else, when they were looking at me, it's like, God damn, this motherfucker got a problem. But in my mind, I didn't have a problem with it. And even when I think about it now, because I'm not drinking now, but I still don't feel like I had a problem with it. But, you know, those are my thoughts. But again, it goes back to, as men, what we deal with, how we deal with it, and everyday type shit, everyday stresses, everyday emotional baggage, and everyday, I don't know, you know, life. And the so-called, and I say that with some super strong
in quotes,
air quotes, the so-called written shit of what it is to be a man. You know what I'm saying?
Who wrote it? What's
You tell
the
me. I'm
concept?
trying to figure the shit out myself.
Nah, you write it. We write the rules ourselves.
Right? No. I get that, but I'm also speaking from a place. You know, I'm speaking from a place where maybe somebody listening is thinking to themselves like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? We got to kind of always throw that kind of back out there, like, okay, that sounds cool, but I'm over here like this, thinking this way. You know what I'm saying? We got to kind of throw that back out there because maybe I have the answer in my mind, but I can't articulate it properly. And maybe you have the answer and you're able to articulate it. Maybe OT has the answer and he's able to articulate it. So me, on the other hand, I'm saying some shit because maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't even know how to articulate that question.
Right.
If that makes
sense. Don't even know how to formulate the question. Some of them don't. It's ideas that's turning around in their head, but they ain't even figured out because some of them haven't had the experience. Some of them haven't had positive role models. My brother here just spoke about being raised by his grandparents. In the absence of true parents, thank God, I'm gonna say because I'm a God-fearing man, that his grandparents stepped in, taught him the old ways. They taught him something. A lot of kids. I've met people in my lifetime. I'm gonna tell you this now. But if you ain't never been told you love or that you special or that you worth something by anybody in your life, that makes you a bitter, nasty individual. And I've met some that told me that. I ain't never been loved to. I ain't never been. I don't know nothing about it. To hell with the world. I'm gonna get mine, and that's it. And I'm like, man, that's really bad.
Well, okay. Real quick story. A buddy of mine, he's a contractor and shit, and he had a kid, and I told this story before, which is unfucking believable, but it's true. At a kid, fill out an application, and for his name, he put his street name, like Lil something, and then for his address, he put West Side.
Yeah,
like, and he was dead ass serious about you know, he's Lil Pookie from the block,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And some of that mentality is like, well, I ain't gonna tell you my government or whatever. Like, if that's your thought process and you put little you know, whatever on the fucking thing, you're missing the whole point by saying you don't, that's not you don't want to give your government. You're like, get out of it. That's just ridiculous. Shut up. But sorry, I got my dogs down here with me. But I mean, that just goes to show the level of thought process, the level of things that are going on with these young men or teenagers or whatever in the hell.
Yeah, they have to be trained in the process because too much information will overload and and all that. And it's also like that's why context is important. Like this is your government name. Like my government name is Dominique Stockman. My righteous name, because I'm a Rasta, my righteous name is I Soul Fighter. My nickname and professional MC name is D-Nick, the Microphone Misfit. And that and I'm
these is titles, yes, sir. Yes.
And depending on how you greet me and talk to me, then cool. Like if you call me like Dominique or something, then that either means I owe you money or you owe me money. My mama don't call me Dominique, so I don't expect that. If you my Ross brethren or sisterin, then you gonna say I, or you gonna call me Soul Fighter, and I'm gonna get it. And everybody. From loved ones to colleagues, they're gonna call me D-Nick. Even as a counselor, they call me D-Nick because that's and I have to on my resume, it says Dominique D-Nick Stockman because if you want to look at my pedigree, D-Nick is my professional name. If you look at my history of working with Columbia College as an artist and they're gonna not know who the fuck is Dominique. I have to put Dominique D-Nick Stockman.
Right. That's the brand. Yes, sir. That's the brand.
That's the brand. And so and it has to be man, and people, you have to learn and teach that. If this is I taught hip hop for over 10 years. So I have to contextualize it because that's on my resume. They might not know who I am. Dominic never worked here. Oh, you talking about D-Nick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he has to learn that, and that's part of the rites of passage. Like, nah, young man, this is how you do it. You don't put this, that, and third, unless you build your name and reputation. Because there is a time when you can't put little Pookie.
Right. Yes, right.
There is a time when you can't put little da 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 from this.
Right.
Like that has kind of shifted, and you got to convey that to people, because now, like, how can we tell that, like, street kid, like, nah,
you can't call that. You can't go
when in today's context we have to be sensitive and respectful to other people's pronouns. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, like, we have to do that now. And so, like,
by law.
Yeah, it's but if he identifies, you know, on phone them, are we not respecting his pronouns? What makes his pronouns less than someone else? Like, you know, like we have to have those conversations. I have to have those conversations even as a counselor. I have to propose that to people because they don't necessarily respect it. It's like, nah, like you can't do that. It's like this America, baby. Like, you gotta respect.
Yes, sir.
Like, you gotta respect all. Yes. So, like, I have to, you know, everything is context. Everything is context. You know, I like, and how you hear it and how you understand it. Some people will look at girly with like 8 kids, like, damn, man, that bitch need to keep her legs closed and all of this type of stuff. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, like, hey, man, chill out. Lady she never gave up on love, and she ain't abort them goddamn kids, even if she did fuck up and find the wrong dude. You know what I'm saying? So she respect life. You know what I'm saying? She respect love. So maybe.
Whoa. Let's back up what you just said.
You know, I'm just saying content. I'm just giving an example.
I get it, but even in saying that, because that just caught me right quick. Even that. Well, maybe she fucked up and found the wrong dude. And that's just like another stress that men have to deal with constantly about being
8 times.
The wrong dude.
You found the wrong dude 8 times.
You know what I'm saying? Why was he wrong, though? Why can't she be wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it can be wrong. It's perspective. She could be wrong for him. And when I said that, I'm speaking in the perspective of her. She might have found the wrong dude for her. You know what I'm saying? He might have been. He might not even been the wrong dude. It might have been the wrong time.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
But isn't that always a given when it comes? This is why I was talking about men right here, real quick. Because isn't that always a given that if a girl has multiple children, it can't be her fucking fault. It's got to be the man's fault. Maybe she found the wrong dude. You just said it. I'm just saying, you just said it yourself. And like, in your brain, that shit didn't even click. As soon as I heard it, I was like, what the fuck? But why is it always the man's fault? Because it takes 2 to tango.
Depends on who I'm talking to.
All right.
If I'm talking to a daughter, a cousin, a sister, any of that, then I'm speaking from her to her perspective and her timing. If I'm speaking to him like a brother, a son, hell, a father, like my father, we had these conversations all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I'm speaking from his perspective and all that. So that's what it is, man. So it's like context. Like I live my raps. Context, nuance, data, compassion.
Right. You know, I mean, because even if throw it back another way, it's like maybe that young lady, this fictional young lady we're talking about. Let's be clear about that. That we're talking about. Maybe she just wasn't taught what love is. Maybe she wasn't, because I don't want to exclude women for even this conversation either. Maybe she wasn't taught what love is. Maybe in her mind, opening her legs was what she thought was love.
Is love, right?
You know what I'm saying?
That's that brokenness we're talking about. There it is.
Or whatever is one way. You know, there's a lot of variables to it, other than just being one person's fault. Just saying.
Yeah, no, it's nobody. Man, I'm not like the guilt.
I'm not pointing the finger at you, by the way.
No, I'm saying I'm not. I don't blame them either, because I look at her like, dang, man, she gotta. If I see the chick with 11 kids and all that stuff, my mind is like, man, she she just needs a little bit more context and how to choose a partner, how to put together. But like respect to her because she could have aborted the mission and she didn't. She didn't give up on love. She clearly didn't give up on love because she keep having them babies. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like you got to navigate the system and all of these things that it works. And like now it's different. And as it keeps changing, as it keeps moving really fast and all of that, you know, it like I go back to what do you do? What do you do? Okay. No after school programs, pre-after school programs, and all of that stuff. What do you do with someone who physically feels grown, is considered a child, and has nothing to do between 3 and 6 to 7 o'clock?
8-ish, you know.
Yeah, and God forbid if parents is working doubles, you know, trying to make ends meet. God forbid if it's a single parent working doubles trying to make ends meet. So you would totally latchkey kids with working 2 jobs and all this stuff. What's this person do? If they ain't got nothing to do, if they ain't playing basketball, if they ain't writing raps in dance programs, in like college prep programs, what is they to do? The only thing to do, like, man, I can't get a job. Only thing to do is the have sex and get in trouble.
Maybe. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, if you don't have, if you're not doing any, like when they used to, like when Biggie was like, either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. Man, you know, you can say that because you young, stupid coconut yourself. You know what I'm saying? but like in reality, you have nothing to do. Normally you would have a job to occupy your time. In yesteryear, now you don't have a job because it's child labor laws. That's why there's OST program, which is out of school time programs. That's why there's after school matters. That's why there's all these things. You know, half of the time is like, you know, like from a funder's perspective, they be treating, even myself as a counselor, they be treating us like in school and after school babysitters. Like they don't, like sometimes the funders don't even respect your job. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But see, so that's where here in the comments, so they said, somebody said, Urban said, do you blame her parents or life experiences? So like a lot of things we talk about, there used to be things like it takes a village to raise them. And if you think back, Heat and brother, that when we was growing up, there were some after school programs. I mean, actually, there is still quite a bit.
Yeah,
but now that you have the kid or the person or the young person has to want to be a part of something. They got to go find it. They got to do something. So what you talked about earlier, that alcohol and that sex, those are instinct things that somebody hasn't taught that teenager. Because remember, the teenager got all those hormones that's just starting to flow. It's rushing the body. It's the pleasure hormones are kicking in. It wants to, you know, the long showers start and all that. And that's where if in a true family situation, hey, the dad, hey, you better get up off my water, man. You know, or the little girl is wanting to cuddle with somebody because ain't nobody at home, dad's not home, mom's not home, and her nurturing thing kicks in. So that's where that wrong love comes in, that wrong sense of love and the desire for it. Those are again instincts from our beings.
Yeah,
that's why the period starts at 14. That's why, you know, the hair starts growing. All these things start happening, and there's nobody to help mentor or guide them through these things.
Man, look, when I got a summer job at like 15, 14 or 15.
Right. Yep.
My money went to rent.
Right.
My mom took my fucking check and she's like, "You paying rent? Because if not, we getting kicked the fuck out." So all summer I worked at the park, paid rent.
Yeah.
And was mad as fuck because everybody else, you know what I mean, at least the motherfuckers I knew that had their little summer jobs was out spending money and shit. My shit was going to rent. And I had to get my ass up and go to that fucking job every day. My mom was like, "You ain't missing a motherfucking day." and then on top of that, with her being drunk all the time, you know, it's
But But then there's a beauty in that because then you learn a lesson.
Look how he turned out. He didn't do too bad, I don't think.
Man, I'm trying to figure this shit out right now as we speak.
You always gonna do, man. There ain't like we all are.
Tell him it ain't no light and it's happening. Right.
Like, man,
crystal ball thing.
We all like that's why man, most people who are alcoholics teaching and guiding AA are freaking ex-alcoholics and ex-addicts, and like, man, a lot of respect to my colleagues as counselors, and a lot of them is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Self-included. Right. You know what I'm saying? Self-included.
Right. Still got stuff you're dealing with.
That's why we can exercise. That's why compassion is important. And like one of the first two things in our like pedagogy and in our like 6 principles is like, you know, integrity and accountability. That's 1 and 2. Integrity and accountability. And so, you know, me personally, my own personal philosophy, I'm a hugger. You know, like I'm a hugger, not in the sense of but like in the sense of how do you hug somebody? You acknowledge, you embrace, and you let it go. And it's the same thing with anything. You acknowledge, all right, this is a problem or this is a skill. I acknowledge, I embrace, and I let it go.
Erwin says, so if you was raised in a gang culture, would you be in a gang? Listen, I lived on both coasts and especially in California and even in Chicago where gang culture is very real. That's a choice. That's not something, I mean, you know, granted, there's a lot of variables in that, and parents not being at home and kids looking up to outside influences and shit like that. But, you know, make no mistake. I mean, it's a choice at the end of the day, I believe, because especially in California, man, the gangs out there are very deep, very, 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 very deep in the culture that go back generations. You know, you got people that are in their 60s in California that still gang bang. Like for real. They're like, and it goes very, very, very deep. But that doesn't mean it's inherited to you. Like it's inherent, or that you inherit that.
Got to like that's your choice, right? It's still a choice, right?
I'm gonna shoot homie some bail though. Like if you were born in a gang, if you were raised in a gang culture, based on your discernment, you're not guaranteed to be in one, but you're more likely than not, because like that's out there in your microcosm, and even out here, depending on where you like, that's a safety issue. And man, that's your nation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I mean, if some people, that's why people have like certain xenophobias, because to be because whatever your interpretation of like say communism, if you're born in like mainland China, you know what I'm saying, which is a proud atheist communist country, you know what I'm saying, you're more prone to that. Like if you like, you know, shout out to our Cuban brothers, you know, like if you're like fled from Cuba or whatever reason, you might be, if you fled from that, you might be a stark Republican, because Democrats have certain socialist like ideas, and that's like a cousin of communism and all of this type of stuff, and people have issues with that. Some people love it, like hell, the Panthers was all like socialist communists and shit, and some people love that. Some people are like, no, like what no, and you know what I'm saying, like, so that man, you have, you know, that's where context plays into the factor. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say it's context and nuance.
Erwin says again, he says old skill saying, tell who you hang with and I will tell you who you are.
Real talk.
Are the company you keep, so to speak. I don't know. I kept company with a lot of different motherfuckers, but that doesn't mean that's who I am.
But why did you? That's where nuance, like, DNA is right.
Easy answer for me. That's a very easy answer.
Okay, then that puts it in context. If I hung around knuckleheads,
right?
You know
likewise,
they're trying and they're like, oh man, you got it. You on your square. Like I'm a square. Right. But knuckleheads taught me how to protect my four corners.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, you know, now others like, nah, you ain't on shit. Come on, like do this with us. Like other To others, if you're not a square, knuckleheads is gonna project your curves. They're gonna be like, "Hey man, come."
They're gonna round you up.
Yeah. Well, one of like, no, man, you ain't about this. Like, you ain't do your little theater shit, do your little rap shit. You know, like all this type of stuff. Nah, man, you ain't out this. Like, don't come with me if you ain't gonna bust your gun.
Right.
Like, oh, we finna go to the party. All right, let's roll. Nah, D, you can't come with me. Well, I can't go to the party with y'all, man. If you gonna kill somebody, if we gotta kill somebody, then no, man, you stay at home. I don't want to put you in that position because I'll kill somebody if I got to.
Right.
Like, all right, respect, like love. You gonna
for me, it was like I said, it was a very simple answer because when my upbringing was a lot. There was a lot of shit with it that came with it. You know what I'm saying? But even in like my mom, God bless her soul, in all of her drunkenness and addictions and shit, she was always dropping these little gems and shit to us as kids growing up. And one of the things she said is that just because we live in shit doesn't mean you have to act like shit. And that's something that she always said. And so, and one of her other things was us. It was important for her that us being her children, being able to articulate ourselves well, because in her mind, us being able to speak properly, speak the Queen's language or whatever, with a bit of perfection, that we will be able to maneuver better within society. We would be able to maneuver better in our journey in life. And I think that has helped me a lot because I've talked my way out of a lot of shit and I've talked my way into a lot of shit as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that question was pretty easy for me because, and then I had nothing but shit to look at. So when I saw the shit, I was like, man, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. But does that mean I'm perfect or no anything like that? Fuck no. Because I've done a lot of dumbass shit. And I've done a lot of mean shit. I've done a lot of fucked up shit. But even that does not define who I am as a person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the bigger thing that us as men, even when showing somebody or talking to someone, we need to always remind them that your past does not define who you are as a person today. You know what I'm saying? If I could be so bold as to say that, and you know,
it fuels it, but yeah, it don't mean you have to live in that. Yeah,
right. Real street organization people are not knuckleheads. What? Come on, E. Johnson. We're not saying the street people are knuckleheads. You know what I mean? Some of the smartest motherfuckers is gang members and drug dealers.
E. Johnson. That was a shot at me. Like, look, man, I'm so E. Johnson, respectfully, I'm moving in and out of like clinical $5 words to like, you know, like my normal
simple English, simple everybody can understand it. Yeah.
I apologize if I offended you, Brandon.
No, but you know what? No, sometimes we ain't gotta apologize around it because I say this shit. No, I'm serious. I say this shit all the time. Some people have to hear it a certain way because that's the only way they're able to understand it.
That's cool, but for me, I gotta contextualize like weaving in and out of like if you know, I get it. Street organizations but to the elders like the knuckleheads and da 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 da, and I'm speaking that like I'm all things to all people depending on the people. Like I'm a Rasta, I am an ADOS, African American, I'm a Negro, I'm a nigger. To whoever it feezes and peases. So I move in and out of those type of languages because I speak those languages. I'm contextually bilingual in that sense. So that I just have to, you know, and that's our thing. Yes. We have to protect our context. We have to protect our context at all times without degrading someone else's perspective and context. So it's like, and that's kind of the thing that I gotta do as a counselor. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I had him tight. See, I did again. I was like, if I had him tight, if I offended him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, with referring to my comrades that was in the street as knuckleheads. Then my apologies. That is not my intention. I'm weaving, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just weaving in, and I'm letting them know how I use language. You know, like I flow in. between the $5 terminologies and
Right.
the regular
I like
street.
that.
Right.
I call them $5 words when they're like $5 terminologies.
I'm glad you said that because I have a tendency to be very extreme in the things that I say, and maybe from this point I'll you know, contest.
No, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? But I just feel the way I feel about it. I feel like sometimes motherfuckers need to hear shit like, "Hey, motherfucker, are you listening?" You know what I'm saying? I like earlier today when I said, "Nah, motherfucker, you know, anybody trying to hear that shit?" You know what I mean? And I don't believe Jizzle got offended, but you know, he felt some kind of way about it for sure. But
man, you know, like from everything I've been seeing, Jizzle moving in life, you know, and I can't speak on that brother's journey. But you know, he's been really about his mental health and his security. So sometimes certain things trigger other people.
Yes, sir.
And in context of talking about us, black people raised around black people and all that, we signifying our culture. We swallow spit and talk shit. And signifying has always been one of my favorite black traditions. And now we talk like, you know, you was talking about like, man, when you like we got the internet and we got all this. Now we're closer together than we ever been. And then things evolve. Some things even like die and all of this. I had a girl I used to work with, you know, shout out to, you know, KJ, you know, since when we was all teaching hip hop and she was teaching Afro-Caribbean dance. And she was like, man, I ain't never been talked about as bad as I am at this school and felt love as I'm talking. I was like, cause you know, we
keep it real with them, huh?
But we love, but it's not in malice. Sometimes people be signifying and talking shit in malice.
How you say something, right?
Yeah,
right.
and you know, and all that.
He
check
out those comments from Johnson. I think he clarified it too. He was saying,
I'm sure D Nick read it. He said I got you. I ain't tripping. But what I was just adding to the conversation was that people who are really in organizations are wise, intelligent, closer to Malcolm X, and for the people. Gangbanging didn't get fucked up until they locked up the leaders of said organizations, ushered in crack, cocaine. But continue on. I'm enjoying this conversation very much. Erwin says people will show us their true colors under pressure. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, E. Johnson, listen, man. It would take a hell of a lot for you to offend me personally.
Right.
I don't get so. I mean, say what you say, man. By all means, you know what I mean. I'm a person that, like, you know, I was just thinking about some shit earlier, and I'm a person that, like, look, man. If I fucking said it, I said it. You know what I mean? And I got to stand on what I say because I'm not a person that just runs their mouth just to be running their mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that my mother always said to us: think before you speak. As she slapped us in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't just let shit just fall out of your mouth. Know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Or at least have some understanding of what you're talking about. So when I say something, I stand on it. And like I said, man, you ain't hurt nobody. At least for me, you're not gonna hurt my feelings or offend me at all.
But E. Johnson, I'm gonna shoot E. Johnson some bail, man. He not wrong because everything has been weaponized. Everything will be weaponized. Even this mental health conversation will be weaponized.
Absolutely.
So when you refer to, and we're on a public platform, so when you refer to, like, if colloquially like, oh, the knuckleheads on the corner and da 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 da. Like, we know what we mean, but someone will weaponize the unbalanced of people in street organizations, because not everybody respectfully is balanced, and they cause havoc, not to exclude the others that don't cause havoc and cause, you know, like, so all you got to do is take the ones that cause havoc and take some grandma that got mugged and exploit her and exploit them, and then everything is weaponized now. Is, you know, it's the tanks all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I understand what he mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes we do, like, that's the cost of That's the cost of the public platforms and all of that stuff. You have to
stop. When do we fucking stop apologizing and shit though?
It's not apologizing. It's protecting.
I mean, fuck. I mean, like it. I feel like sometimes, man, all the time, if I fucking say something, I'm walking on eggshells around people because he's gonna get offended for this or he, she, or this and that, or what in the fuck, man? It's like
the brother. He mentioned that already. He mentioned it already in them that you communicate in and out those levels. So.
Right.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it's going to be.
Speak on that. To give you a little context, D Nick, on OT. He's retired military and a drill sergeant. So and I say this all the time because I don't think people understand the complexities of that job being a drill sergeant. Because he's not only you see these men come in there. Some of them are just fine. Some of them are broken to all shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are there just to be there, just to get away from wherever the fuck they're at. You know what I'm saying? They come from all different walks of life. Now he has to break them down. He has to build them back up. He's seen all of this shit that we're talking about from a whole different level and a whole different perspective.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Aging out of the program, you know, with 18 and parents kick them out, you know, been foster kids, get out. You know, the dad that's all fucked up, that's been kicking the kid's ass, or the mama who been taking all the little pocket change when the little kids started their little paper route and everything. I mean, there's so many, or the kid who thought he had it all worked out, was going to school, got straight A's. That last year, that puberty kick in, he started chasing the girl. Parents said, get out. You ain't going to do the right thing. I don't need you. So there it is. He's 18, got nothing to do. He show up with a little bag, ain't even got an ID. I'm like, how the hell you get in this damn military? Where the hell you come from? You ain't got no ID at. And it's crazy. Or OT, and it just goes on and on. I mean, I could talk about that another hour.
I try to get this man to open up so much, man, about this kind of shit because I think he has a lot of insight on a lot of things that we talk about. But it's hard for him sometimes. He don't be talking. But how does that feel like when you see this shit, you know, and you see these young men come in, and then you know you have to be this very harsh. You know, I was in the military too, so I understand the boot camp and all that shit. You have to be this certain type of way, but at the same time, you gotta be, you know, it's a lot. I mean, what, D Nick? What happened? What happened?
I'm a military brat. Like my father was in the Navy. My grandfather was in World War II.
Yeah,
right. My DJ in the Microphone Misfits is an ex. You can't be ex, but he's a Marine. He was
Marine. He's always a Marine. Yeah,
always a Marine. So I totally empathize with that struggle, and I'm just like, whew, them brothers go through a lot. And I got a partner. He's a b-boy out in the Chicago scene. He was adopted by. He was adopted as a ward of the state. He was adopted by the Marines. You know what I'm saying? And like they do that too. The service will adopt.
Yes, they do. Roger that.
So like I'm just
Roger that.
I'm like, ooh, that's tough. Like, you can speak on the OT. That's yeah.
I was in the military. My brother was in the military. My grandfather was a tail gunner in World War II. And he used to tell me stories about that shit. That shit's just insane. But then again, it goes back to the pressures and the shit that's thrown on men's shoulders all the motherfucking time. And we don't, because my grandfather wouldn't talk to anybody. And I'm not saying I was like the chosen one or anything like that, but I was the only person that he would really even talk to about his emotions, his feelings, about what was going on in his head and shit like that. You know, I was the only person he would even let cut his hair and shit. You know what I mean? He could barely talk. He had Alzheimer's and everything, but the shit that he would tell me would just fucking mind blowing. Just pure insanity. And to believe that this man was carrying all of this shit with him up until the day he died. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that bitter ass old motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's got all this trauma and all this shit stuck in my fucking head and don't know how to deal with it. Even at my age now, I'm trying to figure it out. And I know that there's no book for the shit, and we have to write our own passage. We have to write our own shit. But goddamn, we all need some kind of a mental push or help or hug or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
And hey, I'm gonna tell you, hey, Heat, I'm gonna tap it. I got to get ready to run. That's why we got this check-in, brother. That is the difference. When we started the show off, what's the difference between then and now? Is now we got a platform. We got brothers that's got some official training. We got a man here who's a counselor. We got a drill sergeant here who know how to break it and put it in your head that you don't have to choose to do effed up stuff. We can tell people all day long. That's why we got this check-in, and we're going to spread this around the world. We're going to send the people love, and we're going to give them that tough love that they need also.
Right. So listen, why don't we close this out? Because we had an hour 30.
Yes, sir.
Like, why don't we close?
Shout out to DNA, man. They banned him out of Facebook for some reason. They banned him.
They banned him? Oh, damn.
I'm gonna start with you, DNA. Give us some closing thoughts.
Man, you know, like, I'm broken record. Like, man, you just have compassion, have context, have nuance, have data, protect your peace, be understanding. And the journey is the journey. You know, be accountable and always move with integrity, but you're not wrong. You're not. When I say you're not wrong, let me clarify. It's not your fault.
Yes.
All right.
It's not your fault.
And I'm gonna tap in on that. Yeah, life is about you making choices, and you can make them. You got to deal with them, and that's why we give that 5-second rule. We talked about it in other shows. Whenever you get in a situation, take 5 seconds before when something come up on you, it's pressing on you. Give your 5-second count. Get your mind right. Think about it. And make a decision.
Yo,
be your own person. Make your choices.
Man, for real, man. First and foremost, I want to shout out everybody that was in the comments. Thank you for your participation. D-Nick, thank you so much for popping in. We kind of needed that tonight. We needed another opinion, especially a professional one, because we are not professionals. But that doesn't mean we're not professionals in other aspects of life. I'm a professional in my life. I say it all the time. Nobody knows how to fuck up shit like I do. You know what I'm saying? I am a professional at that. But what I'm working on is retiring from fucking up. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on retiring from making bad decisions. I'm working on getting up and being accountable for my actions. And I say working, and I use that word very strongly because nothing happens overnight. You know, like the old adage, Rome was not built overnight. We got to build this shit brick by brick by brick. And before you know it, you have that steady, strong foundation of whatever you believe in and whatever you think and feel like you should be living your life, man. And with that being said, this has been the check-in. Thank you guys, man. Salute to everybody. Salute to everybody in the comments, man. If you're going out there in this world, man, and you have troubles on your mind, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody, call somebody, find some help. If you can't find no goddamn help, man, we'll be here every Sunday at 8:30, man. Come and talk to us, man. Let loose of that bullshit, man, because it'll get you nowhere. I promise you that. With that being said, this has been a check-in, man. Peace out. We gone.
Bless.